chat as live. I'm going to make sure that everything that I have is in order really quickly. So while I am here and we are waiting for everyone to join in, give me just one moment. Today is going to be the first day that on a Saturday you are seeing my face and not Alex. So if you're tuning in just right now at the initial launch of today, hello Avatar. Just so you know, if you aren't aware, today is one of Alex's daughter's birthdays, and so we are celebrating that by giving him a well-deserved day off. So as we get in and everybody is joining, what you are seeing on the screen today, I am going to run us through a preset of the Game Maker. That preset is the training grounds, and so we are going to bounce from one event to the other inside the training grounds and explore first how they work when you play it, and then secondly how each works on the back end. And in doing so, I'm also going to go over just before that a little bit of news. So give me just one moment. I noticed that my window's open. I'm going to go close that so you don't hear any semi-trucks drive by my house. One second. Okay, now that everybody is in, hello, and welcome to the Sandbox Game Maker version 0.3. Today, every Saturday, we go over some of the usability, I would say, features and feature sets of the Game Maker software. Full disclosure, as Alex's daughter's birthday is today, he is not here, and I have assisted Alex. I am not an expert in the Game Maker. However, I want to go over the training grounds. We're going to play in the training grounds, and then we are going to look at what each aspect in the training grounds is, what its feature set is, how do they work in all those spaces. Before we get into that, hello Plank, Crypto, hello everybody on YouTube and all these platforms. Before we get into that, I want to discuss some bits of news of note this week. We usually do this on Saturdays. So the first thing that I want to talk about, we're going to go over the Substack, which is an overview that we get from our community managers every week. If you are not currently subscribed to Substack, this is a way to catch up if you've missed anything and maybe you're not here on the stream. The first thing is, and probably the most important and impactful thing, if you joined us last Wednesday, I'd mentioned that I wanted to build a game myself, something that was original of mine, and I wasn't able to do that because of this very first announcement. The Sand token, currently, if you're holding Sand tokens and you're holding Ethereum, you can stake that Sand token and Ethereum on the website at staking.sandbox.game. And in doing so, you can earn yourself more Sand. So if you are not aware of this program, it is at the URL staking.sandbox.game, and you will need to provide liquidity in Sand and ETH to the pool on Uniswap. So really briefly, what does that mean? First of all, you would go to Uniswap and look for the Sand ETH pair. In the corner, you'll see something that says add liquidity, and I've pasted this link. This was almost all of my day yesterday, actually, kind of breaking this down, but you would add liquidity to this pool, and you can see the sharp incline. Right, September 24th, before we made this announcement, there was $180,000 in the pool. Sharp incline up to 1.2 million in a day. Currently, if I refresh this, probably a bit higher than that. Yeah, $1.48 million worth in total liquidity. Total liquidity means the pooled Sand tokens and the pooled Ethereum to match. These are roughly worth the same in the pool. So once you've added liquidity to that, you get a token on your MetaMask account called a UniV2 token that represents your share of this total pool. Having that, you go back to the website here at staking.sandbox.game, and you can stake your tokens. And I have staked, so this shows you an example of kind of how it works. Staking your tokens. In doing so, when you confirm, you'll see that that number is up here. The tokens come out of your wallet, go into the Pixel wallet, and begin the staking program. In the duration of this program, you'll have up to 1.5 million sand. Actually, exactly 1.5 million sand is distributed to all users based proportionately on their staking. So my 180 sand ETH Uni V2s in the last 24 plus hours have earned me 95 sand. Only a gas fee to do so. Pretty cool. Super exciting. Excuse me. I read the comment there for you, Avatar. Tried to do that, but it seems too risky. I mean, we definitely have all of our smart contracts verified. They have been audited, so that's definitely safe and secure. The only kind of risk that you may have there is if you believe that your sand is worth more than your ETH, or your ETH is worth more than your sand. When you pull out of the pool, you're taking out your proportionate share, but not necessarily the exact number of each that you put in there. So if, like, let's say the value of sand goes up relative to ETH, when you pull out, you would end up with less sand than ETH, or in the reverse, if sand was worth less than ETH the next day. Nonetheless, I'll move on through this here. So we have some new listings. Sand has been listed on, it shows here in the Substack 3 new exchanges, but I'm going to tell you how it's 4. Wazir X is one of our exchanges that has just been listed, and in the first day they did more volume than Binance, so that's a very big listing. Pretty cool. Upbit listed. Crypto.com as well listed. Crypto.com is unique because they have that the debit card that you can actually spend your crypto in the real world with kind of like an automatic USD or local fiat conversion. So that's super cool and interesting. Crypto.com is also doing an exclusive campaign. So if you want to look into the details of that, you'll find it over there on the Twitter account. Excuse me. Also have a contest available for if you're looking for land and sand rewards. You can get $500 in sand plus a land, or $250 or $100 in sand, simply for kind of expressing yourself. It shows here that sorry, I got lost in thought. It's a writing competition, right? So if you find yourself to be a writer, or you are kind of an amateur writer and you want to just test your luck in doing so, the contest is available. Again, go to Substack in order to find the easy way in on these links. Let's see, a new version of VoxEdit launched. So if you downloaded VoxEdit since the new version launched, you may have experienced a little bit of a glitch in the animation, especially when trying to export to the marketplace. If you have access as an artist and you were trying to export in the marketplace, if not, nonetheless, you'll want to make sure that you download the new update. Update number 5 has been hotfixed since it was released, so there'll be a new version as of just yesterday, I believe. So get that if you don't have it already. Of course, we have a lot of in the marketplace. If you haven't noticed, when you're playing in the Game Maker, you can test out a bunch of Halloween-themed items. Those have been expanding rapidly over the last few weeks, so want to check that out. And there is a VoxEdit Weekly contest going on right now. So if you aren't aware, the current week's theme is Medieval. Submission ends on the 28th, so in just 2 days. The voting will start on the 28th and go through October 5th. So if you haven't already submitted, you can again win a land for your submissions in VoxEdit, and you'll get an in-game contest winner's asset, which is, excuse me, that it will go into the marketplace as well as your asset. So yet another one on top of that. I mentioned that there was an additional exchange that wasn't mentioned on the article. So Polynex was listed, and this was just a few hours ago. And I have myself got a contest that I personally have been running over the last week. There haven't been that many submissions to it, so if you want your chance to win some land at the location -173,60, which touches a Sandbox social space, then please enter in my contest over on Twitter. And now we'll get down to it. I'm going to read the chat for a little bit and make sure that we don't have any special questions that I can answer. And then passive income, you did make it. However, haven't done a giveaway yet, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. I'm going to do it a little differently than I have in the past. So let's see here. Like this is on here. Yes, that is passive sand income. If you already have sand and ETH, you can combine those in the pool, and then you will stake that for a passive income. That is a special promotion. If you're not aware about the sand promotion, that is just a 60-day event. So this is kind of a special thank you, as far as I've been able to tell, just for folks who have joined in the community at an early portion. This isn't the kind of staking that would award you gems and catalysts for game development, which is later on the roadmap. This is just a, hey, if you're providing to the liquidity pool, enjoy your kind of a free reward. So remember though, again, you'll need the Uni V2 token, so you would already have to be, or you would have to add liquidity into this Uniswap pool. So let's see here. Rusty Gray asks, I applied for the Creator Fund a few days ago. How long does it take to get a response? So the Creator Fund response is varied. Usually they want to make sure that they're kind of looking at those in depth, and then thinking about where they may fit in the ecosystem. So there are a lot of, on the map at sandbox.game, you can see a bunch of blue squares all over the place, whether they be very large or very small. We kind of look at those and say, your game project, would it make sense to go into this area or that area for different kind of thematic reasons or promotional reasons? And so that being one aspect. There's also, of course, how detailed is your pitch, and that. So they typically can run through 4 to 10 a day in terms of just looking at that. But the staff that's doing that is also designing kind of those social hubs and experiences that we've been talking about over the past few weeks. So they are they're busy with many tasks, despite the fact that our team is growing rapidly. We do have, it does sometimes take a little while. Let's see here. We are doing giveaways today, Avatar, just so you know. I am going to do it a little differently. So if you have been here in the past, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, Alex had a built-in system where you could type !sand and you could get a reward. That broke at some point, and Alex has been able to interact with you while I went back and counted down a dice roll that he did. Right, so that system won't be possible today because I can't go back through the chat and kind of waste your time, right? So today what we will do is, yes, we will still have the contest. It will be !sand. However, when I call for it, I would like for you to put those !sands in the Sandbox's official Telegram chat, and I'm going to link that for those folks who don't already have it in the chat, because I want to be sure that everybody has a chance to enter this contest. And we could actually just do the first one right now, but put that in the chat in all of our platforms, and inside the Telegram type !sand. And what I will do is I will roll the dice here, and I actually have to grab them. I didn't get them offhand, but I'll roll the dice. And then, and thank you for putting that in there. When I roll the dice, I'm going to put the number inside the Sandbox chat that I roll. And that'll be a bookmark for me, so that at the end of the show, I can go back and I can recount in the last few minutes. And we can talk about different things while I'm counting and doing those things. I love to see it. I love to see it. Anyway, so yeah, we'll do the first one. I'd love to get, we'll see if I can roll that 2 for you. But if I rolled a 2, it would go to Brian right now. So I don't know if that was the wish you really want. 1 second while I go get those percentage dice for us here. Then we'll get into the gameplay right after this roll. All right. Sorry about the wait there. Well, we're all putting it into the chat. Out the dice. I got it here. So if you've never seen these before, to know how they work, you can see on this dice here, this represents a single digit, right? And it has a 1 all the way to 0, which is kind of to suggest 1 to 10. Then you've got this dice here, which has the same figures, except for there's one with a double 0. So if I rolled a double 0 on that, and I rolled a 1 on this, that would be the first entrant. Makes it fair, and the same chance that you'll win from number 1 to any number. So I'll give it just a few more seconds here, and then I'm going to roll those dice. I'm going to record that entry, and afterward, I will be able to count it at the very end. I love it. All right, and then in doing it on Telegram also, just one more thing. I'm going to make sure that I can see, I'll be able to DM you there, and you can DM me back. I can say, hey, look, what's your ETH address? That way it'll be very, very easy in that way. So thank you for doing that there. We'll get on with the action a little bit here. Okay, so how much can we win now? And when is the winner going to be selected? Sure. So I'm going to roll the dice, and I will enter that number in the chat. You would be able to count it back and know, but I'm not going to be able to count it back personally because I want to try to stay engaging here and not just focused on the Telegram chat or something like that. I want to be able to play the game first. And then after having played the game a little bit here in the training grounds, where you can see where the assets are, where it's played out on one land. After playing the game a little bit, I would then be able to go back and count it. See. Can we use? No, you cannot use sand several times to have a bigger chance. You will win 100 sand, but I will skip over duplicates. That's it's with the intent that it's fair. If you could just spam sand, then whoever could type fastest would have a better chance of winning than anybody else. So we'll see what's happening here. First section. Lava blocks deal damage to the avatar and asset you specify in the behavior, right? If I was to come into here, you can see that I'm taking damage, much as the demon is taking damage. And I could probably attack him while I was on the lava, but I risk death in doing so. You can adjust the damage received by the block on each asset, and we'll look into it. Water blocks allow you to swim, which is not yet included. You can see here in the current version of the Game Maker, we just essentially walk around in the water. We can jump and do these things. You can deal damage to an asset with any type of block. This isn't restricted to the lava, and so that's based on what attribute that block has there. Twitch, if you want to win land, there is a whole variety of ways to win land, and I mentioned that just a little bit ago. Right now I've got a contest personally that I'm giving my land to the community. We've also got a contest on the official forums where if you made a medieval theme, you could win a land by making assets in VoxEdit. Then we have a contest going on for writers. If you love the Sandbox, you want to write about it, there's a contest therein. So lots of different ways to get land just this week right now. So it's super cool stuff going on. The audio in the Game Maker currently is automatic, yes. However, Audio features are in development. In the Game Maker right now, we're only in version 0.3, and you can expect to see major iterative changes coming in that like 0.1 levels. So the next version will be 0.4 and 0.5 and so on. See what the void is doing. You can specify which asset or block is destroyed by the behavior interact with the left void. So I interacted as I walked up to it and it made those blocks floaty. It also destroys assets in the zone, interact with the void in the middle. So as I come up here, I interact with this. Bleh, all the squirrels died. No! Oh, poor squirrels. Now this behavior can occur at the start or by receiving a message. This is mainly used to regulate the amount of water in a pool, for instance. See, when I click void there, it blew up the blocks under. Void behavior destroys blocks in a defined zone at a certain frequency. So let's see here. Sandbox game engine is full window, then I launch it and I can't make it download mode. Oh, to windowed mode so I can stream it. I see. No, I don't. See if I can second while I push tab. I'm going to test that and then we'll go back into some of the more basic feature sets. Tried. Unfortunately, and fortunately for myself, I have my PC. This PC is hooked up into another PC, so I don't have to think necessarily about that function. But you would be able to Alt-Tab out in order to load your streaming software if you were doing so. So now that we've had the sand going on for a while, I'm going to do that roll. And I am going to guess, based on the number of comments that came through here, that this is roughly 60. So I will roll, and if it is greater than 60, I'm going to re-roll 47. And Golem X is the last possible entrant. I've typed 47 in the chat. More, keep in mind, more, that you will be eligible in the next roll. And I'm going to use yours as number 1 for the next set. Okay, so let's get back into some of these features. Explored void, we've explored the lava. Right. Okay, so this can be used to create blocks when the player reaches a certain spot. Block spawner. That is very interesting, super cool. Boop! I clicked it, and I fell in a hole. Go back to edit mode and come back into the game. I want to see. I bet you there's a way that I could find out why that happened once I run through it. Let's remember that I clicked on the block spawner and fell through. Okay, so I wonder if I could recreate that. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. That block spawner probably should have in the code a proximity kind of a check to spawn those instead of an interact. I had a manual interact option on that, and that is why it forced me down through the environment. The behavior can occur by receiving a message, interact with the multi. Right. Mainly used to create waterfalls, but the liquids won't be ready for this version. Block spawner makes a block spawn at a certain frequency within a defined zone. Fair enough. Okay, let's see here. It happened because I'm not Alex. That's, you know what, that's fair enough. I like it. It happened because I'm not Alex. Alex is so good at what he does in a way that I don't think I'm going to reach, you know, until I add a few more years under my belt with these. You can interact with a plant, destroy it, interact with the yellow one. That's nice. That's an object with the plant trait. Fun. The little pad cut all the plants. Plant can be destroyed by receiving a message. Push the button to destroy the green ones. Button sends a message that can trigger different events in a range. Push the button and it looks like it made the tree grow behind it. Oh, pushed it again. And the bike. Oh, very nice, very nice. Like that. That function there is when you are replacing one asset with another based on the input that is the button. It can be useful in a variety of ways, like the project that I was trying to work on early in the week here before I ran out of time because we made a major announcement was kind of a city building simulator. In that I wanted to be able to harvest resources off of objects and then take them to locations, and once they got in a proximity, a building would receive message build, right? Or replace something that was like a shrubbery with the building. And I may continue to work on that as we go, but Alex is going to have much better handle on the game for the foreseeable future than I do, as you know, I'm about a year in myself now. A message broadcaster can continuously send a message from an object at a defined frequency. Take the key on the left and bring it near the door. Right, and we saw this in the past when Alex showed this, I think maybe last week or two. As I took the key to the door, it opened. When I dropped, and as long as the key is near the door, it is sending the frequency on a pulse, which is interact, right? That gold key, as long as it's going to be near the door will continue to open and close and open and close. There is a way to make it so that when the key reaches the door, it only interacts once, but it would require a third object, and Alex showcased that a few weeks ago. Ground herbivores eat specific assets within a defined range. Once they're attacked, they can run to escape predators, so let's... Away! Will you run? Get out of here! Oh, we got him. Okay. A ground prey tries to escape once it detects a ground predator near. So we actually saw this example happening live. I'd have to press tab and come back in order to do it again. It didn't run away. It tried to run, but it ran to the right, and then it hit the collision of the space that was, I would assume it's proximity, because you could see it started in the center of that area. Whoops. I tab a few times there, so 1 second. I will show you. Love it. Love all the comments in the chat. We are well past 47, and we are getting a lot of sands, and that's interesting. I like it. A lot of people don't know. So let's see if I'm going to put this in the Telegram chat here. Where are we at here? Looks like the game maker is a little bit stuck there, so give me just a second. I'm going to refresh it. I tabbed in and out far too often. I'll reload the task here. Okay. B33H. I think you'll find that a lot of people... Oops, hit that. I want to save it. I think you'll find that a lot of people are interested in that, but it's probably easier to sell it on the Discord chat than it is to sell in here. Okay, let's get back into here. So let's look at that right away. Actually, they did it super fast. So that wolf, you can see it in the background. Immediately, it's a ground predator attacked the ground prey that was inside the perceivable radius, right? Right now, I got near. Let's see. I don't think it's set to target individuals at this time. Alright, so let's see what's going on with the citizen here. Citizen simply walks in a defined zone. Once a ground predator gets near him, he tries to escape. Ally fighter command can patrol and attack specific targets. When you attack them, they will attack you in return, even if you are not one of their targets. So there the ally fighter is gunning for me, and they punch harder than I could hit with a sword. So I'm gonna run away. Speak. With the question behavior, you get a question. The question has multiple answers the player can choose from. So let's see. We need get an egg or nothing. And press E to that egg. There it is. Spawned right under me. Wonderful. Okay, the farmer collects specific assets in a defined zone. Collects every X number of seconds, depending on their frequency. Right. So we've seen the farmer in, there's another template that uses a farmer where the objects grow at a certain frequency and the farmer collects them at another frequency. So this is kind of a world building sort of a character. If you want somebody to kind of have a task that they are doing just in the background, filling things out, maybe they're buying from a market stall that spawns a certain asset infrequently or something like that, then you'd be able to do that. The healer detects wounded specific targets within range. Oh yeah, that's me, buddy. Let's go! Heal me up. The healer can be an object as well if you don't want it to be a person or an avatar of any kind, then you can set a heal as an object. At the size of this land avatar, this is still a 1x1. Looks huge. But it's just, I believe, because it's flat. Could be, let me look at that. I might look at that again. This could be a 2x2 training area. This looks pretty big. It's actually affecting the fog of war, so I'll reload it after a little while and show you what that is. But the 1x1 space is a 96 meter by 96 meter. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 meters across right here between these two posts, or like post to post. Then it's, you know, reasonable to think, what is this? That's 8. Figure these. Do the maths. I'm gonna do some math. Love it. Okay. 6 tiles across. I think this is just one land. They're huge, so it wouldn't surprise me. Let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and read the next task. You can replace an asset by another when it receives a message. You can interact with an asset. You can also replace it with another. That's pretty cool. This would be useful if you were carrying an object, and once you had that object in proximity to a receiver of a message. Like when I was trying to build my city simulator, I would have like an oak piece of wood, and I would bring it to an area, and then you would, once you had an oak piece of wood, the message receiver would allow this to happen where you could interact and build, like replace bush with building or something like that. When a door is already has an animation set in VoxEdit, it gets played once you interact with it. That, right? That's the animation that's been set. It works when I'm pushing the E button there. You can make an object rotate if the door doesn't have any animation on it. If you have a door that doesn't have animate, you can make the entire door and door frame rotate. And of course you can interact with the doors to open them, so when they are, whether it be through an animated asset, and I would suggest if you're designing it in VoxEdit, take the extra step and make it open with an animation. I just think that that's going to look cooler if it has a door frame like this. Let's see here. I'm going to operate this. Okay, the spawner creates a specific asset with specific behavior. The asset spawns once the spawner receives a specific message. So you would want to destroy the egg and then push the button. Really, there is an asset here, and you can see I'm kind of asset collision has not been turned off, but you can't see it. So it's invisible there, and that is the spawner, and then you'll set the spawn location for your object at whatever distance you want on the X, Y, and Z plane. You can have it go anywhere that you like. Let's see here. Bird flying in the air, yes. There are bird assets. It's actually a preset, so if you were designing a flying creature that has wings, then you would be able to use the kind of bird asset template in VoxEdit to create that in a relatively easy way with all the animations already built in. Basic platforms can move horizontally with a certain speed. Of course, they can also move vertically with certain speed. But generally speaking, in previous videos you may have seen Alex has in his Wizzy world, where he has made that quest, there is a platform that goes across the water. So because of the addition of the new vertical or verticality features and the change to 0.3, I think he hasn't fixed it so that it only goes horizontally, and now it goes vertically as well. These movements can collide with or go through other objects, so keep that in mind when you're choosing the parameters. Like, test it and make sure that it does or doesn't go through the ground, maybe, if you wanted it to. Could be useful if you had a platform like this go down into lava, if you were making a traditional platformer, and the lava is damaging, so if it went all the way down you could take damage. That might be a fun little thing you could do. Last one, birds can fly in a defined zone at a certain speed, right? Doing their work. And again, you're setting kind of a radius as that zone where they could fly, so you could have a lot of these flying creatures if you were into it. Gotta run off to the garden? Okay. Hey, it is 8:40 now, so if you haven't already, please enter !sand into the chat. Remember, if you have already, since I last put the number 47 on the chat, if you've already put !sand in the Telegram chat, then make sure that you don't do it twice, because I won't count it twice. I'll continue now as we go along here. Let's see if I can read some of the chat, because I think I've been missing it. And keep in mind, if you're entering it in the Twitch chat or you're entering it on YouTube, this particular week, because I'm all alone and I've got to count it later, I'm doing it through the Telegram chat, which you can see here, and I will link that in. I believe I still got it on my. There we go. Link that in to all the chats. So if you're not already on our Telegram chat, please join us and put the !sand in there, please. That will help me, so I can just roll a dice, keep a number, record it, and come back, and I can send you a PM as a winner later on when I have a little bit more time. I'm going to try to stay as engaging as possible here during the show, being just one person. It's actually the reason why I started, to help Alex and help him be a little bit more engaged. So I'm going to get back in here and read some of these questions going through the chat. An estate, Amara, is actually a variety of things, right? It is multiple 1x1 lands in formations of either 3x3, 6x6, 12x12, or 24x24. Each one of those pieces of land is 96 meters in every direction, 128 meters tall, right? So it's reasonable. I didn't go count it specifically. I believe this is right here is like 7 tiles going across. So it's reasonable to believe that this is a single land, like a 1-by-1 land that we're playing on now. Let's see here. There were a lot of questions that I would normally answer if I could use or had a little time to do the Google Translate to get the answers for the Russian community that's watching. So if you had to ask questions, I may come back in the chat later and respond to those. Let's see here. How much rent can we expect from a premium land? I think that's an interesting. It's free market economy. You can charge whatever you want. Will people come in? I think some of the factors that could affect that are location, and of course the initial cost of buying a land outright. As with the rent for your home, people assess value based on what makes sense. If they're planning on having the game published and working on it for years, maybe they'll just buy a land, no matter what it costs. And maybe, your renting would be reasonable. And again, it's up to you. But let's say that you did like $1 a month or something, right? Allowing somebody to publish on your land, then that may be reasonable for some people. But they may say, well, the land is $43.20, and I'm going to have it up for 5 years, so I'll just buy one. It'll end up at the end of the day being up to the market to decide what the price of rentals are when that feature becomes available. It is not yet. Let's see. In the middle of building a stadium, Clankers. That's pretty cool. Stadium features we use for a lot of reasons. I'd be interested to know what you do with that stadium, whether it be like a gladiator world or like a soccer field. Football? Very few people call it soccer. Let's see here. Can you build anything on the land or only games? And what if the land has a portal because it's near a hub? Can I build a big sausage and people from the hub might randomly enter to see the big sausage? Katsy, yes. You can absolutely just make it an art world if you like. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that we'll be able to showcase what some of that is soon. But I know that I've shared previously on my Twitter an example of like video or an animated GIF playing on the side of a wall of a building that Seb had published long ago. So if you just want your world to be like an art showcase, or maybe like a sales space to promote your NFTs that you've created, your assets, you could absolutely do that. I mean, this world is kind of an example of that in action, actually, right? Where each one of these podiums could be, perceived as like an arts showcase. Even for the birds that are flying. If you want to show the animation that you created for a really awesome dragon or something, then bring it into the world and just showcase it that way. That would be a very interesting thing to do with land. You may also be able to feature other people's NFT assets if they wanted, depending on how popular your land got for that function. Let's see here. So the Sandbox evolution, a question came in about the Sandbox evolution. Sandbox evolution is a two-dimensional version of the Sandbox that's not on blockchain. That game has seen tens of millions of downloads across Android and iOS over the years, and it is what helped kind of bring us to where we are today. It's a full user-generated content game. You can, of course, make whatever you want in it, but right now, the Sandbox evolution is not going to be blockchain. It's not intended to be upgraded to blockchain. What the goal is here for the Sandbox in the future is to take this voxelized version of the Sandbox and make this not only work on PC, not only work on Mac, but then later, and you can see this on the roadmap, be able to publish your games and have people who are on mobile play them. People who are on possibly a console could be playing your games that you've created with the Game Maker. So that is different climbing speed depending on the asset. Climbing up the side of the wall there. That would maybe that's actually really awesome. Oh, nice. You can kind of, whoa, that was super fast. Look at that. So rapid. Rapid speed. Fall off a cliff, going up that quickly. You can also display it by interacting with an asset. Interact with the right panel. I think that this feature is supposed to be showcasing a billboard, but I do not have the asset for the billboard inside my piece. You can see the S there. I'm pretty sure that this is supposed to be an animated or static image, like an art showcase here, specifically as we were talking about that. But it's not functional because I don't have that locally. Let's see here. Main concern maybe is discoverability, just having a 3x3 estate in the middle of big estates. Sure. I think that it's important to know that your discoverability is going to come in a lot of different ways. First of all, and we've detailed this on a variety of different outlets. When you walk to the edges of your world like this, in the later versions of or the live version of the game, when you walk to the edge of the world, it's going to ask if you want to go to the next area, right? So if you're the 3x3 estate next to a giant one, right? And somebody's over here on their giant estate and they get to the edge of the world, they're kind of done playing or what have you, they get over here, it'll say, do you want to go to the next world at this location? And you can say yes. Obviously you could say no. It gives you a few seconds to decide there. And then it hops you into the next world and loads the next games, the next code, spawns you wherever the game maker has designed for you to spawn. So in this game here, the avatar spawns right here, right? And so it doesn't matter that I hopped in from the edge of another world, I'll always spawn here on this world. So that, in a lot of ways, that makes those areas, in my opinion, that are like the Ataris, the Sandbox official spaces, the Care Bear spaces, things like that, it makes those appealing because folks are going to click into those on the map. And that's how they're going to load into the world, maybe primarily, or they're going to come in using the Sandbox social hubs, and then they're going to just be able to hop off of those into your areas, and people are going to be exploring in all sorts of different ways. So I think you'll find that people will get to your spaces, even if you're just a 3x3 in like a giant, or next to a bunch of giants, right? But it won't take them very long to get there, I don't think. Initially, I almost just talked about something I'm not supposed to talk about. I got out of a big meeting with the staff this week, so okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and roll dice for the last the second sand entry that we've already got the entries in. So don't do it again yet. Don't do it again yet. Okay, this one is 44. I assume there are 44 comments in the chat right over there. So 44, enter. So that's I've typed 44 inside the chat over there. And now folks who are entering !sand after that will be eligible for the third roll. This week I do not have. Alex typically gives away one NFT, but I don't own any NFTs, so I can't give those away this week. That's an Alex special. It comes from Alex specifically, and I don't want to necessarily commit that for him, but he'll be back on Wednesday to do more NFTs. This week we're just doing these sand giveaways, but it's 100 sand for free, so super cool. Let's see here. You can heal or damage any asset by sending a message. Use the right button and then the left one to try. Oh. Hurt myself. Okay. Oh, the left one is a heal button. Very nice, very nice. I like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's see here. You can pick any object with the pickable component. Each object will have a different offset when being picked up by the avatar. Grab this. You can see the offset is kind of the proximity to the avatar. Press the button again, it just drops. Very nice. Okay, one here is a little bit closer. Cool, cool. You can put a speaker component on an object to display text over it when you interact with it. Hello, I'm a friendly wolf. Oh, very nice. Hurt you? Can't hurt him, they made him immune. Smart game developer right there. Friendly wolves. Don't want to kill him. You can display a win or defeat pop-up when you interact with a button. Green for victory or purple for defeat. Game over. Uh-oh. Restart, because I got a game over. And we'll assume that this is the win button, and if I push win, I win, right? I win. I can't win. Alright, let's see. If we have an asset published, can we change it afterwards? Changing a few colors or the whole asset? Katsi, if you publish your asset, for sale, what you're doing is you're actually serializing the asset as it is designed in that moment. So if you are making an asset and you want to see how it works in your world, you'll be able to do that without minting it to publish it on the marketplace. So that you can then pull it into your game maker. But right away, if you say, hey, I'm going to mint this thing, and you put it on the blockchain and you put it in the marketplace, however many you made are made exactly like that, and they'll stay like that forever. The only way that you would be able to change those assets is in the feature sets of the animations, and that would only work if you use them based on a template. Like in the case of Alex's Care Bears, they're based on the child template, so every time the child template is updated inside the game maker, the features of the Care Bears change. But for most people, that's not going to be what they design. I assume you'll make, like, let's say you made like a tree, and you didn't like that tree that way, and you wanted to recolor it just a bit differently. You minted the tree so that you could sell it. The trees that you're selling are going to stay like that forever, and that's by design, because they're unique. They're not just like an editable digital thing anymore. They're serialized, proofed, permanent things. So let's see here. When will fall damage be implemented? There are a lot of features that are getting implemented with 0.4. I'm not totally sure if fall damage is in there, but I will bet that it's very soon coming down the pipeline. But it's compared to the things that are being implemented in the coming updates, I would say that fall damage is not nearly as cool as the other features that are there. If you were going to make a game that you would want to require fall damage, you might just make it so that like lava hurts really bad and you land on that or something. That would be my recommendation. But I don't have a complete understanding of the game maker, frankly. Like I said, I haven't done it nearly as much as Alex or any of the team that's actually properly working on games has. Carpathian Dot. I want to respond here on the Telegram once again with the Twitch.tv, the Sandbox game, so that Carpathian knows what's going on, because I see that over there. They're noticing that everybody is typing !stand, and we want to make sure that they understand what that is. So let's see what's going on here. Each asset with a health component can have a health bar displayed over its head. That life bar is inside its body. The life bar can always be displayed, only on hit, or never. What that means. Okay. That wide swipe is hitting both of these targets. I assume they'll die at the same time. Did. But only one showed the health bar. Let's give this guy a big ol' hit. What up? Yeah, much cooler. Multi-swipe. Hey, your assets with a health component can regenerate their life over time. Sure. If that be interesting to have that health bar stay up. Sake of seeing that, but an asset can be invincible, of course. We saw this example with the wolf over there that was friendly. We made sure they were invincible. When an asset dies, can spawn death. Interestingly, and I think that this is still getting bug fixed, there is this asset spawner there. So with that kill, message was sent out, spawn asset, and then the asset spawner spawned the other asset. So you'll need kind of a multi-component thing to make this possible, but you can't always make those invisible, and this should be properly invisible, not ghost invisible, so that'll get fixed in a future update. You can change the death delay of an asset as well. It's interesting. What that? Oh, oh, very cool. And when an asset dies, you can make it respawn at a certain spot. Don't know. Don't think I could kill that. Very low. Okay, is customized respawn location currently available? Vox, actually, we just mentioned that. When an asset dies, you can make it respawn at a certain spot. So that's based on the asset. I assume this function would still be possible with an avatar, but currently inside the game, when you respawn, of course you're always setting your avatar's spawn point, whether you're first loading in the game or not. In this particular game right here, this is the spawn point for the avatar itself, which is separate from asset. The avatar will always maintain its same appearance, representing you as a player in your multiple game worlds, unless it has been manually overridden by a developer. How long does it usually take for one full-time person to build a game on a 1x1 land? Art, that depends a bit on the sophistication of the design. If you are using pre-built assets, I'd say you could build... I mean, Alex, knowing the client very well, built a type of game experience in an hour and a half here on the stream a few weeks back. However, he's done it quite a lot. So he already kind of had an idea of what he was doing. If you're fresh to the tools, you'll probably want to practice with them for a while, maybe like 10 or 20 hours, because of the diversity of options that there are. And this actually what I'm going through with here, if you are inside the, not just inside and playing, but if you go inside to what if I click on this, the task that it could perform, this is a component, speak, waits for a message, interact. So it's waiting for me to walk up and push E to display this text as a speaker, right? The text that it says, as the tutorial says, you can also set a sound when an asset dies, destroy the egg. If I was to destroy the egg, it would have a sound play. Can see why here on this behavior. On death, destroy, death delay, right? Dies, it gets destroyed. Message, kill, death egg. Life bar displays when it is hit. It is not an invincible object. I click true, I wouldn't be able to kill it. Death message is death egg. And 2 tags sound, right? So that sound tag is how it's going to create the sound. This guy here, play name is sound4. The sound is click.wave. There's some other options, radio static, video music, all these things. But we'll go ahead and go back to the play function and see how that works out. But I think I'm gonna have to check with the team on this because this test I believe was made before 0.3. I could be wrong. So it seems like the sound functions, or maybe it's just not loud enough. You can hear the sword clang very easily, but the sound for the dudes here is not coming through. Loop the sound within the parameters, but I just don't have any actual audio coming through from. Maybe it's that particular wave file. That would be interesting to test. See if I can change what sound they are playing. Wave, video music. This tutorial here was play a sound after the object was destroyed, so let's see if it works. I'll have to find where the wave files are. Maybe there's a way to bug fix this and submit that troubleshoot. Okay, so it says in this version we can use our own .wave, right? Currently the sound design is in process. So I'm not part of the dev team, probably couldn't get a clean answer on that without asking. So offhand, I'm not totally sure, frankly, but let's see if I can just test it. Let's grab this guy right here. Radio music wave. Sounds yet. So it looks like the sounds are going to be uploaded into updates to the game maker, and currently the sounds are just we have here. Don't see like an upload option for audio. However, this is something that we've been working on actively over the last week or two to implement basic sound design, getting folks who are working on that. So let's see, the time is now 9:05 local time, my time, AM. And if you haven't already, please go back to the Telegram chat and give me an !sand in there. I can do the final roll. I've run through all of the basic functionality of this here. If you are a user who actually I didn't go do the running of the platforms up there. That a cool thing to do. But if you are already in the Game Maker Early Alpha and you'd like to see how the code for each one of these individual functions works, you can always access this from within the main menu. You hit templates, then load the training grounds, and you can give it a new name. And inside the training grounds, again, you can see all of these different individual functions so that you can then use those tools to go back and make your own game. I am not an expert game maker yet. I do absolutely have a lot of ideas, and I'm not totally sure how I'm going to execute them. So I spent quite a few hours trying to make a city simulator earlier on in the week, but did not didn't have enough time with the news that we had come out. So for now, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to wait for those !sands, and then we can have a little chat. I'd like to answer any questions that you have about the Sandbox, about the Game Maker, about VoxEdit. To the best of my abilities, I have regularly I answer these kinds of questions. The hard stuff, the blockchain stuff, that's actually what I specialize in. So if you have technical questions or you want to know something about maybe the future of the project, ask those in the chat now. I will try to address them as we wait for more folks to enter !sand on the Telegram chat. Right now, there's probably only about 20 or so users who have done that, so I'm going to go. Remember that the !sand has to be entered on our Telegram chat this week, so I can go back and check it, because currently I am doing this solo. So in order to be able to do it in an efficient and quick way, I'm only going to count those which are submitted to Telegram. And I put the link there in the chat, so if you're not already on our Telegram, then please do get on there and enter in those !sand figures. Okay, so let's see here. Looking for some questions on the Twitch or YouTube or Periscope, etc. If you have some questions, please give me those there now for the Sandbox. Anything, again, whether it's technical related, maybe it's just a basic support question, maybe it's about staking, or it's about the game maker or VoxEdit. Any of those questions that I can answer now, or if they're super difficult, I can come back to you later. But I want to see kind of what troubles you have and how I can help you with them now. Okay, looks like Art of Block says that if there are experienced game maker developers out there that are watching this that would like to build games on their lands on a project-to-project basis, message them on Discord. That is one spoon, hashtag 7683. Always interested to see how those projects go, by the way. If you are creating a project and you want to show it off, you can always tag me on Twitter or tag at the Sandbox game. And you're gonna almost always get a retweet right away, right? Like, I see those things and I'm like, hey, this is super cool. And I try to highlight them as much as possible. I know there's one in particular that I see all the time on our, let me see if I can go back to the map. Planet Rift right here. This is one that is, the Sandbox is helping fund the creation of Planet Rift, but they've got super cool ideas going on. A lot of good ideas out here in the world that I'd like to see them. If you earlier we talked about the 3x3 and saying like, hey, maybe you're worried about exposure. Make sure that you're leveraging all of those people who are excited to share these cool games and cool ideas. Like, just a logo like this makes all the difference as well, right? Like Sand Rush, that logo right there might sell people just to go there all on its own. It looks super cool. See here. Yes, that's right. Right now, Amara, you can see that Uniswap liquidity pool is quite strong right now. In the duration that we've been chatting, another, roughly 11,000 since I last refreshed it, been added to the liquidity pool, but you can see it went way up. Overall, this is up something, nearly 10x over the last couple of days right now. So a lot of people interested in the Sandbox staking program. You can see here the roughly what one could earn as you are staking here. You add your UniV2 token that you get for adding to this liquidity into the staking, and you can earn sand through the duration of the next 60 days or so. Here. Does the Sand Liquidity Program work? Yeah, so the Sand Liquidity Program, and I mentioned this just at the top of the show, but what you have to do is first you have to add liquidity into the Sand ETH pair on Uniswap, and you can see this stark increase in liquidity there, right? A lot of people have been doing it over the last few days, and it's a good thing. It allows people who are trying to trade sand to buy and sell it, right? There's a big pool of sand to pick from. Right now, somebody could potentially come through and buy 16 million sand on Uniswap, and that, in exchange for their Ethereum and vice versa, right? Anyway, so if you add liquidity to this pool, you get a token inside your wallet. I'm going to assume for the purposes of this explanation you're using MetaMask. Inside your MetaMask wallet you'll see a new token called UniV2, which will, if it's written out long, it says Sand ETH UniV2. And you bring that token over here onto staking.sandbox.game. You add it into the pool right here, Sand ETH UniV2, however many you have. It says here I have 0 because I don't have any in my wallet. I've already staked all of my particulars. And so you type in how much you have, or you click max, and it'll add them, and then you confirm that. Once that is in the pool for the staking reward, you are receiving a proportionate reward of 1.5 million total sand that will be given out to the users. So right now, so far this month, I've got 97.99 sand that I've earned for having 180.8 Sand ETH UniV2 tokens staked, right? At the end of the month, all 1.5 million will be divided among those people who have staked. And then we will have one more month of this event with this and possibly other types of rewards. Their UI for this does suggest that we could have other kinds of contests on this page, so keep in mind that new things could be coming down the pipeline that we haven't announced yet. But for now, you are earning that, and you can see that it's ticking up live as I'm talking to you about it. So this proportion that it's ticking up every minute is happening based on how much of the total amount of these Uni V2 tokens I have, right? There's probably, if I was to guess, 20, 30,000 of these Uni V2 tokens that are in this pool, maybe more. I don't know. I can't see the back end, but out of that, I have a certain percentage, and so I get rewarded a certain percentage on a minute-to-minute basis, roughly 0.02 sand I get every minute, as you can see here. That number may slow down as more people inject new or more Uni V2, because I would have a smaller share of the total pool, but that's okay with me. Right now, the reward is pretty cool. I'm actually enjoying this quite a bit, getting this here. So let's see here. How will the assets be categories when they reach a massive number in the future? Sure. So assets are already categorized on the shop. If you go on the shop here, you can see the categories: animal, building, city, decoration, furniture, machine, magic, nature, all these other things, right? I think that one interesting way that I plan to leverage the shop is that every asset that I make that I want to sell, I'm going to have like a tag on the name. Right now you can see tombstone, right? If I type tomb, everything that contains TOMB can show up in the search function at the top, right? So if you were making an asset and you say your name was TSB, right? You could have TSB tree. You could have TSB block. You could have TSB world, right? And every time you type TSB, they would be able to find you and your assets if they like one of yours very quickly. So if you're wondering how can I be seen in this world, just keep in mind there are categories, but if somebody sees one, like if I see white soprano ukulele, I can click Toby R as well, and I can see everything Toby has made. Okay, I can see published assets. I can see added assets. These are different subcategories that'll be important down the road. You can see that the lands that they have and all these other things, but this is related to their account. Creator Fund Voxel Artist Toby. So if people wanted to see more of what you've made, they can either find you that way, or you can make it easier in the search bar for people by putting in a tag like that. So if it was me, I'd say TVE, right, the Vision X, or maybe I say Vision, and you're finding television and retro sci-fi television, but maybe it was like Vision Log and Vision Tree and Vision Wall, things like that. So that would be a tip that I would leave for you on that there. Is there a way to invert the mouse look y-axis? Shakes, right now, the controls are set based on the kind of early program that we have, and I can't detail exactly why, but because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement to not talk about it. But I can tell you that right now the controls make sense for the initial launch of the game. I would say almost immediately after we go into that public test of the metaverse where people can actually play these games, that you're going to see variety from the game creation tools, like a lot of variety. Right now, your camera controls, they already have worked on lighting controls, and things like VoxEdit and lighting controls are going to be a big thing. I could see camera controls absolutely being editable down the road, but initially we want to make sure that there is a good base of features and then go into the advanced stuff after that. But leave that feedback. There is a feedback form that you can leave here on the website, and right here on the homepage it says "Give us feedback." So if you want to see that in the game, use the feedback form. It is seen. We take it into, for any kind of feature set that isn't already in the game. Please, leave it there. And the more that it is requested, the faster it's going to come up the priority list. So let's see. If I'm not a registered artist, can I still enter the weekly VoxEdit contests? Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the point of it, actually. Not just not just like my contest that I personally did was not because I want to see pros come in and give the pros everything. It's because I want to see ideas mature and the community grow, and that's the same thing with the VoxEdit weekly contests that come up. You can enter a new one every 2 weeks or so, roughly. You want to see community members engage with the product, create new and interesting things, and then the votes will come in, and the top 3 are getting a land, right? So that's not even, you don't have to be the world's greatest, you just submit something that you think is cool, and also save the project. Because if you're making something for the theme this week's medieval, right? And let me see if I can pull that up again. I think that I closed it. But if you're putting in your submission for the contest this week and your theme is medieval, it's not wasted time in a lot of different ways, because you could save the asset if people like what you're doing in this contest, but maybe you didn't get first place. You could still potentially mint it later. It's actually right here. Silly me. You can potentially mint it and put it on the blockchain later on down the road. So a lot of cool things can come from it. Definitely submit if you're not a pro, because no one, very few people are professional voxel artists, and everybody starts from somewhere. So let's see here. Can I get the Sandbox graphics elements? Vox, if you would like that, yes, stick with me after the show. Or hit me up on Telegram and I can send you a link to a zip file that's all of the stuff that we release to the press. Pretty sure I can do that. What happens after 60 days? Does it end by itself? B33H? Yes. It does end by itself. It's kind of on an automatic timer. Again, it's giving out like every second on this content, or on this liquidity reward, it's giving it out that sand proportionate to your share, right? But the timer, the amount of sand that goes out is always the same. So every second it's ticking, or minute or so, right? It's ticking out a certain amount of sand from the server to this potential claim spot, based on your proportions, and the same amount is going out. So if I was to just come up with a number out of my head, let's say 15,000 sand goes out, but there's 30,000 users here, so you're getting a half a sand every tick, or something like that. I think that hopefully that makes sense. How much will it cost to mint an avatar? That's not set in stone at this time. What is that you need a catalyst to do it. So a catalyst can be later on created by staking sand inside your land. So if you're a landowner, a game developer, right? I would assume if you own land, you're going to want to make a game on it. And you'll have to have sand in order to get land. So you've probably already got both of the resources that you need. Later on, you'll be able to stake your sand inside your land, and that will generate those gems and catalysts. So if you already have those two things, land and sand, then it may cost you nothing. And then you're going to have those assets. When you go to make the creation, the only fee then thereafter is whatever gas it costs to make that process happen on the Ethereum blockchain. So that's not a Sandbox thing. That's everybody who uses Ethereum pays a gas fee. So it should just come down to that, from my understanding of the technology as it's being developed now. JD, you earn 98 sand in a month? No, it's actually much faster than that. You can see here, this is my sand earning since we announced it, but this program only started, and everybody got to start at the same time, like 30 hours ago. So this is, roughly, just keep in mind, roughly my stake was about $1,700, equally split between Ethereum and Sand, where I had like $850 worth of Sand and $850 worth of ETH, and I put it into the liquidity pool in order to get 180 tokens. So my stake is, it's kind of a perspective. Some people would look at that stake and say, well, that's not very much money. Some people would say that's an extraordinary amount of money. I happen to think $1,600 is quite a bit, just for Joe. So the stake there, just keep that in mind. That's only 30 hours, and it's going to continue to grow. You've seen it grow right here while we've been talking. Fees are killers sometimes, yes, definitely so. Oh, good. Alberto. All right, I'll get with you in just a minute there. That pop-up may stay there until I click it away here, so behind my face on the stream, you can't see it, which is... Okay, so let's see here. A lot of folks have put in that exclamation mark Sand. It looks like probably only 20 or so, so I'm going to roll those dice one more time here, now that we're just chatting. And 13. I'll put 13 down here in the chat, so number 13 will receive that third allocation of Sand. And for this particular contest, I'm going to DM you using the Telegram chat after the show, and make sure that those people who won get that. Hopefully they'll be able to get their Ethereum address to me, so I can get that 100 Sand rewarded. If you're the curious type trying to figure out if you've won already, you could go back and count those exclamation mark Sands from before when I put in that number, and you would know. Let's see here. 100 Sand. B33H got 100 Sand in 24 hours so far. Very good. I would imagine that means you have roughly 200 V2 tokens in there. Let's see here. Will the assets be inspected by the Sandbox admins or some sort of quality control before they are minted? If not, will there end up being with tons of low-quality assets in the market, which might hurt user experience and the whole community in the long run? Sure. So, quality control is not necessarily the direction. I believe that the market will kind of be able to moderate that automatically, because if you are an asset creator and you spend the money to mint your assets on chain, right, the gas fees and all that, if you spend the money to mint those assets, then I would assume you would want them to be a higher quality. If you publish something and you find that the community doesn't like it, I would also assume that you wouldn't want to continually keep spamming out low quality products, because every time you publish it costs money, right? Obviously there's a potential to earn income, but the higher quality projects, the ones that take longer, have a much better potential to earn considerably more. So as a developer, it's rational to think that you're gonna put together a high quality product over time. Now, that said, admins do have some control. The community also has some other control. So let's say that you, Art, if Art of Block makes an airplane, right? And you publish that on there. And then someone else comes through and they make the exact same airplane, then the community has an opportunity to report that they, in a way, stole your asset. So it's a duplicate, right? And that can be removed from the marketplace, and the sand that it costs to publish on the marketplace will be taken and given to the person who reports. That's the system as it is currently described right now. Of course, that could change over time, but right now the reward would be that if somebody sees like copyright infringement, they could report it and receive a reward for that report. So there is some kinds of vetting, but not, we're not going to say like, oh, that's too ugly, right? Because that's always up to whoever's buying. It's not necessarily up to me or you. Like, you may not love the way that the game Fall Guys looks, but someone else does. So there's no way for us to impose and be like, oh, that doesn't meet our standards. The way that we kind of guide that standard is the VoxEdit guidelines that we've released. It is also in the fact that like scaling doesn't exist in the game maker now, because we want to make sure that the detail is uniform in a way. So there's only 32 voxels per meter. That's the way that we're going to kind of moderate that, like what the pretty factor is. Everything else is up to you. So let's see here. The next pre-sale announcement. I don't have that answer, Argub. The reason why I don't have that answer is because the pre-sale is announced after smart contracts are made and ready, like arranged for your for where the estates go and those kinds of things. Also, partnerships have to be finalized and ready, where they are going to be located inside those pre-sales. And then, of course, we want to make sure that there is some time for people to get their things sorted. So the next announcement probably won't be very long, but the next sale, I'm not totally sure on. The only thing I can tell you is to look kind of maybe at the history as an indicator, and see when the time splits were between previous pre-sales. And hopefully that helps give you an idea of when to be ready. But we will keep you updated on all the channels. I'm sharing all over the place. I'm in the Telegram chats, I'm in the Discord chats, and all those other things. Let's see here. The earned gems, when you stake, will they be available for sale? Yes, absolutely. So the gems and the catalysts, after you've staked sand to generate those are actually ERC20 tokens, just like sand. So if you stake and you generate gems and you generate, catalysts, they're just like Ethereum, right? They're just an ERC20 token, so you can sell, trade that like any other monetary asset. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm actually interested to see like what those will eventually kind of be valued at, right? Because if the demand is super high and the scarcity is there, then maybe those catalysts, for creating your assets could have some significant value. I'm not sure, but we'll see how it goes as things go. Right now, it is not generating gems and catalysts. On this screen that you're seeing, this is kind of a pilot or / like a rewards program for you as an early adopter. We're not generating any catalysts because we're not staking sand. What we're staking here is the Uni V2 token. This program has a lot of benefits in a lot of different ways. First of all, it increases the liquidity to users that want to buy, that can't buy on like Binance. I know there's a good like quarter of the world that can't purchase on a Binance or something like that. Obviously, we have many more exchanges opening up regularly now with our token, but nonetheless, Uniswap is kind of the most universal way for anybody to get it. If they're willing to pay the gas fees, they can just pick it up. So all this pooled token liquidity right here, this is super good for the market. And DeFi is popular for this reason. We're almost over 1.5 million in total value between the Ethereum and the sand, meaning there's roughly $750,000 worth of sand here, which is plenty if people wanted to come and buy it to prepare for a pre-sale or prepare for staking or things like that. It's there, and so that's the token that's staked, not sand. And in this particular program, you're not seeing that. I'm gonna actually refresh this page to kind of show you what I mean. So if I hit unlock wallet and I can this, it didn't show me the page again, but there's another page right before this that shows what else you may be able to stake. Of course, right now there's nothing else to stake, but any of these types of promotional programs as they go may offer different kinds of rewards. I know that Seb floated the idea of potentially offering NFT rewards, and I don't know if that's coming out of the Sandbox or that's coming from a partner or any kinds of other cross-promotional situations, but there's a lot of cool things that this staking program can do that are different from the gems and catalyst rewards that we'll have down the road. Let's see here. What will gems be used for? Yeah, Khaled. So inside the game maker, I can actually show you this on the marketplace. Each one of these assets, right? This Hornet, see this symbol up here? The little, the epic rarity is determined by how many catalysts are inside the item. So there are 3 catalysts inside this hornet, and those catalysts are like gem slots, right? And then the gems determine the attributes of the asset. So this particular little haunted hornet has a power boost based on having 1 power gem in the hornet. There are also health boosts. There are all sorts of things. Let me see if I can go back and find one that has multiple different boosts in it that are all. There you go. You can see here this magic forest asset has 3 different boosts: 1 for defense, 1 for magic, and 1 for speed. Interesting that it has a catalyst for speed. Maybe this object moves and they wanted it to move fast, like real fast. You can see again, this is an epic asset, so it would have a potential for 850 copies. Once they actually finalize this and mint it on chain, they would have 850 copies of this that could ever be sold. Basic platform. So yeah, I think this does move, like probably floats and goes forward and back over like a moat or something if I was to design that in a game. Okay, so let's see here. Can we sell gems when we stake? Yes, I think I addressed that you can sell your gems, you can sell your catalysts. They are ERC20 tokens. Okay, all right. So if there are any other questions here, it's been about an hour and a half. Hopefully I've helped you learn a little bit about how to get started with the Game Maker today. And again, if you have questions for me or for anybody on the staff, you can always ask in our Telegram chat, in our Discord, our Twitter. You can ask me directly if you like, pretty much everywhere. Okay, let's see. Are there plans for weather/daytime settings? Yeah, Vox, currently they are working on the basics, if I was to put it that way, which is like the lighting. Right now it's pretty flat light in the 0.3, but they are working on a manual lighting system. You can see kind of the starts to that inside of the VoxEdit software right now. In the update number 5 release of VoxEdit, there is a manual lighting control, and I imagine that is going to transition very quickly into the Game Maker. Multiple lighting sources and volumetric lighting and those kind of things, those are getting a bit down the road, but we'll see as things continue. I know that they're working hard on a lot of different aspects all at the same time. Right now, we have 12 different teams working on different layers of the sandbox, whether it be the website layers, the VoxEdit, the Game Maker, all of those sorts of things. So there's a lot of different groups doing a lot of different work to make this product great for you coming forward. All right, total supply of gems. I don't know the exact answer on that. If you, I know B33, I see you on Telegram all the time. So the second that is announced, I'll let you know. If it is a limited asset, that would probably actually surprise me. I believe that it would probably be more like Ethereum, in that Ethereum is technically an unlimited asset with unlimited production, but we shall see. I think that I don't know the technicals on it. I haven't read the validation on the code, but I think that you're going to find that we'll continue to be able to produce them for years, because artists are going to want to keep creating art for years and years and years, and we have a long-term plan for this game. This in a lot of different ways. We want to be able to potentially even introduce this into schools. So we'll see where it goes over the years, though. So let's see here. Yeah. So when the sandbox first launches, it says obviously there will be lots of empty lands without games. How will that translate to the users? Sure. So if you were watching earlier when I was inside that land, and that is, from my best estimation, a 1x1 land space. How big that was. Um, the way that it's designed at launch is that you've seen, we already have folks who have been working on games, and you've seen it in the creator fund. So if you're not familiar, you can go to gamefund.sandbox.game and apply to be a game creator if you have a pitch. And those games that are being made and that are sponsored by the Game Fund are at initial out going to be centralized around the social spaces, right? When we're allocating those as a team, we're saying like, okay, you're taking this block over here that's very near this, right? So that it doesn't have that appearance that it is small. But in terms of scope and scale, so that you can understand like how big this world really is, a 24 by 24 space is well over a kilometer, right? That's actually 2 kilometers, 2.3 kilometers in a 24 by 24 space. So if I go back to the map right here, and I zoom in, let's say we're just talking about this space, like the origin space, the 0, 0 plane, right? If somebody was to spawn in the dead center of this, they would have to walk a kilometer in any direction to get to the end of just that small space relative to the whole world, right? So you've got a ton of potential game experiences that can be filled or played or used, right? And then inside this space, in the social hubs, we have portals that can take you to locations. So if there's a space that we know has a game on it, right? Like let's say that this Atari space has a game inside there, but you're up here. Maybe, and I don't know the full details on it yet, but maybe that portal teleports you to a place that we know there's a game and there's something to do so that people can keep the engagement. And then if they got teleported to this Atari space, maybe that's good for this user right here. Bowen gets those folks who just walk off the side of the Atari land into theirs. So there's a lot of different aspects to it, but I think you'll find that there's going to be a lot of engaging content even right away. Some of the early projections are a minimum playable at release, like 20, 30 hours of content minimum playable. That's just us, not even yours. And I know that there are a lot of developers out there making these games and getting them ready with the game maker so that as soon as the metaverse goes live, they can click publish. So I think you'll find that there will be lots of content, and it will be very playable for folks even at the early stages. Create and show us the real size avatar. Right now in the game maker, I can only show you a 2x2. In the latest version of the game maker, there is a there was a patch that we applied that kind of conflicted with Unity, and we're working around it right now to create new spaces. So if I create a 2x2 and I pick a theme, let's say I do Nether, and I say Joe. This is a 2x2 that I'll show you here as it loads up. It'll only take a second. How do you make my dragon fly in the game? That fly animation should be something that you program in. If I can zoom out and show you just by 2, zooming out from the center, and it's massive. Right? How big is an object? Let's see. Grab a character, robot bounty hunter. How are you doing? Look at how small that character is in this world. And it doesn't count the fact that it's 128 meters tall. There's so much space to work with. And this is just a 2x2. Again, when I talked about the map, right, and like how big is a world, that one sandbox square in the center of the map is a 24 by 24. Like 24 lands. This is a 2x2. They're huge. It's going to be massive. There will be a lot of content to produce, publish, release, play. Even on day one, I think you're going to find that there's going to be a lot of people who've developed their lands, and people are going to stumble upon those and have a lot of fun in it. So, Many lands owned by holders and speculators that will stay unused for a long time. If moving between games, they appear like a desert and moving around make moving around less convenient. So if you're just jumping between games, it may be that you'll find those kinds of I guess voids in that, but I'm pretty sure they're going to fill up, right? But one of the aspects that should be considered is that when you sell an NFT, it may have increased value if there was something designed on it, right? So if I was to sell my NFT land, let's say that I owned whatever, I don't know, this one right here by Old Skull Games, and I actually do own one over here that touches Pong. So I own this land right here, right? I wouldn't want to leave it empty even if I just wanted to sell it, because when I sold the land, if it had a developed game on it and a potential for revenue immediately, it's probably going to sell for more. So even as like an investor, like if you think about it in like a conventional sense, somebody who buys a home that doesn't have any, or land that doesn't have anything built on it, usually builds something on it if they're going to resell it, because it has more value with something done in it. So I think that will solve itself very quickly over time, once people realize that they can't sell an empty land as easily as they can sell maybe something developed that doesn't require work. So there's a lot of interesting things here. Yes, Avatar, I promise you that if there comes such a time when I can load a 24 by 24 world in the game maker, I'll do it. It's probably going to eat all of my RAM, and that's fine. I know Alex's new computer that he's getting coming up, I think it may have arrived, or it'll show up on Monday, would be able to handle that as well. But we will definitely explore the depths of these tools as we go. Do as much as we possibly can. The new computer that he has can literally do anything by design, so that we can push everything to its limits all the time. So, hello, Allo. Welcome to the stream. We are running 45 minutes long. I'm just having fun in the chat at this point. So we're if you have questions about the tools or anything like that, or you just want to talk about it, let me know. And I'm just kind of bouncing around back and forth talking about it. So let's see here. If you were in a box, how would you think outside of it? That's an interesting question. If I was in a box, how would I think outside of it? I am of the mindset, and many people might agree with me. Many more will probably disagree. That there's nothing new. That there is nothing original. I think that you want to make sure, from my perspective, I want to design something that is playable, is fun, is engaging. Usually that means they're not simple, but that doesn't mean that stylistically it can't appear to be simple. You know, I actually was talking to the development team about this yesterday, that like how a game like Pong, right, and that's over here right next to where I am on the map. Pong, one of the simplest games you could ever think of, right? But how many times have you seen Pong be remade in one way or another over the years? You know, this game's been out 40, 50, 60 years, I don't know, a long time. And you know, it's not original necessarily, but if I was thinking outside the box, you might think of ways to change Pong. There was a version of Pong in like 2000 where like the paddles were 3D and rounded, and maybe it went in a circle, and they did all kinds of things with this property over the years. So thinking outside the box sometimes means looking at what's out there, and then thinking about how you can do something unique with that base concept, you know? I mean, the game Mega Man has been reiterated on thousands of times, right? The platformers, you have those like speedrunners always play that particular kind of game, like roguelikes and things like that. So, you know, your interpretations, what makes your things unique are going to be like art style, particular little niche things, And I particularly think that the best games are going to feel more like an arcade than the Elder Scrolls. But that's me and the way that I uh, think I would best enjoy the Sandbox. And they're going to be, if it's anything like the Sandbox Evolution, you'll find that there are many, 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 many kinds of games, and that's how and why it attracted 50 million players. So, is it even possible to recreate Pong in the Sandbox? Allo, I believe that it is right now. I think you probably could if you worked hard enough at doing so, but you would have to do a lot of different things to kind of work around the physics. Like, you can currently push an object, but you can currently pick up an object, but can you push it? And so if you programmed in a bunch of pushers on the map, you could probably make it like a bunch of, if an object is within proximity, push it this direction, right? You could probably make that possible pretty quickly, but it would take a lot of work to do so. It's not like a simple physics-based game currently, and that will become clear as to why as soon as I can tell you. But in one of the very nearest iterations of the game, as soon as we get into the metaverse, you're going to know exactly why Pong isn't like the easiest thing to make with the game maker yet, but that it is obviously, given that we are helping Atari design it, going to be possible in the future. So please, the left island? Sure, yeah. You can see the left island there. These are pre-sale 1, which all sold as one big bulk, one sale, one day event. Then this was pre-sale 4.2, right, which had multiple day little smaller islands. Pre-sale 4.3 should be this region of the lower portion of the white outline, and then pre-sale 4.4 as we go. So you should try it, Allo. You should try to make Pong and then show me what you got. Show it to me on Twitter, because I'd like to see it. And if I can, I would forward that to people immediately, because I bet you that Atari would be very interested in how you made Pong as well, if I was to take a guess. Let's see here. Yes, the ex-vice president of Universal Music. Not exactly that role, but yes. So in the very end of the article here, Bertrand, the former global vice president of Universal Music, joins the Sandbox as vice president of licensing and brands partnerships. Bertrand Levy. So very, very, if we're just talking dollars and cents, that's a money mover right there. This gentleman has a lot of experience with promotions, cross promotions between brands and platforms. So it'll be interesting to see how Bertrand helps progress the Sandbox on the back end in a way that most people don't see every day going forward. We've done a pretty good job of that so far with partnerships like Atari and the Care Bears and some others that I haven't or that I can't talk about, but that'll be very cool. Very cool to see that. Pong first release in 1972. Good call. Very good. Thank you. That's old. That's old. That game is old. I'm old, and it's old. You know what I mean? First game ever made. It's not the first game ever made, actually, but it is up there. Yeah, it's definitely. The next pre-sale, I don't have an announcement date on, and I'm gonna take. And sorry, seeing a question coming through on Telegram. The next pre-sale event will be announced soon. What I would do, if you want to get a rough idea, and I can't guarantee this, but I would roughly say look at the history of between when we announce different pre-sale events, and you may get a good idea of when we will make the next announcement for that. I'm not a decision maker on that, so don't quote me, but as a buyer, that's what I look at to kind of guess when the next pre-sale event will be. Arnold, a partner? Arnold who? What? Let's see. Will the metaverse have multiplayer games? All the users exist at the same place and time, or is it played in different dimensions by each set of players? Multiplayer is a planned feature for the metaverse. I am not sure that it's going to be ready in games at the initial launch of the metaverse, but I know that it is a core feature that we know must be possible because multiplayer games drive the communities, right? Whether it's a simple multiplayer game or complex like a first-person shooter or something with a lot of netcode in it, multiplayer is a core aspect that we are aware of and will be bringing to the sandbox. So yes, it will be there, just maybe not day one when we get into the early alpha and beta. So right now it is almost 10 in the morning for me. I got to get to it and doing some works for the sandbox here. So I appreciate you guys joining me on the stream. And if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, please leave them for me. You can reach out on Telegram, Twitter. You can reach out through the Discord, of course. I watch those all day and answer people's questions all day long. So if you have any further questions, please hit me up on there. And I will see you guys with